Welcome to the Deep Dive. We jump into fascinating topics and, well, pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're starting with something straight out of an adventure story, really. Think twin brothers, a hidden map, a desperate quest. You get the picture. It's the kind of hook that just grabs you, doesn't it? So our mission today is to unpack the outrageous adventures of Skip and Scout. And this is more than just a children's book. It's quite layered. We're looking at how it mixes fun, history, and education, based on clips from its Kickstarter video. So imagine this Texas ranch. Skip and Scout live there. But things are tough, the land's dry, the rancher's struggling. They really need to help.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think, is how they've used these, classic adventure elements, bravery, a big challenge, the thrill of finding something, but it's all woven into something deeper. It promises that treasure hunt excitement, sure, but it's almost like a treasure hunt excitement, sure, but it's almost like a Trojan horse sneaking in history and life lessons. It makes it really rich for, well, pretty much anyone reading it, not just kids. You're getting more than just fun. It's kind of a gateway to understanding more without it feeling like homework.
Okay, so let's dig into that main story. We've got these twins, Skip and Scout, and their home is, believe it or not, an oak tree on this Texas ranch. Kind of charming, actually. But like we said, times are really hard. Drought, parched land. The rancher's finding it tough just to feed the cattle. Things look grim. Then, almost like fate, or maybe just because they're clever, they find this ancient map. And it's not just any map. It supposedly marks a hidden Spanish treasure. That changes everything for them, right?
No, absolutely. That map isn't just a plot point. It raises the stakes immediately. It shifts them from just watching the hardship to actively trying to do something about it. Their drive to save the ranch, their home, really, that becomes the engine for the whole adventure. And that emotional connection makes it super relatable, even for younger kids who might not get the economics of drought, but they definitely understand wanting to help someone they care about. It turns the treasure hunt into something, well, noble, based on loyalty,
Exactly. So, with that mission, they set off. It's a proper adventure. They journey through these dangerous woods, facing wild terrain, dodging animals. The source even mentions a bear specifically. Adds a bit of real danger, doesn't it?
Lovely.
All while they're following this winding trail, trying to find that fabled silver cache. It's a real test for them. Their smarts, their courage, pushes them way outside their comfort zone.
And what's so fascinating there is how those classic adventure bits, the bravery, the excitement, they're not just for fun, though they are fun. They're used as this solid base for something bigger. That universal appeal of finding treasure, overcoming obstacles, it's all kind of leveraged to open doors to, well, a wider understanding. By pulling kids into a story with high stakes that feel personal, it can then gently introduce these bigger ideas they might not normally encounter. Makes learning feel natural, part of the excitement. It's smart storytelling, really. Respects the reader.
And what comes out of this whole quest are these really strong themes. We've got courage, obviously, friendship between the twins, and that thrill of the treasure hunt itself. But deeper down, it really hits on determination, perseverance when things get tough, and the strength of family. These aren't just buzzwords. They're shown through what Skip and Scout actually do.
Yeah.
Makes the lessons land, I think.
Yes, embedding those themes is done really well. It's not telling kids, be brave. It's showing Skip and Scout being brave when they face that bear. You don't get a lecture on perseverance. You see them pushing through the woods because they have this goal. That kind of learning through experience, through the characters' actions, it's much more powerful than just being told. It builds empathy, makes you think about choices, and appreciate those core values. It's good character building, not just entertainment.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting beyond the adventure itself. The creator has cleverly woven in actual educational stuff right into the story. So you're not just reading a gripping story, you're finding historical references, some facts, maybe even some legends mixed in. How exactly does that work in the story, and what makes that mix so effective for learning?
Right, that underlying thread of history, as you called it, that's the magic ingredient. It works because the history becomes part of the treasure hunt itself. It's not separate. The author specifically mentioned including details about the Spanish conquistadors, the explorers back in the 1500s traversing Texas. So imagine learning about that period, not from some dry textbook page, but because it's relevant to Skip and Scout finding the treasure. The pedagogical value, the teaching power of that is huge. Mixing adventure with real history makes learning about events and people way more engaging. Memorable, too. History stops being this static thing and becomes part of a living story.
That is fascinating. But how do they keep it accurate, or at least responsible, when it's a fictional kid's adventure? And how does it go beyond just giving facts to actually sparking genuine curiosity?
That's a really good question. It shines because history isn't just dropped in, it's framed as part of the quest. Kids are probably more likely to absorb info about conquistador routes if it affects whether Skip and Scout succeed, you know? It uses their motivation for the adventure to make them curious about the real world. By making history relevant to the characters, it makes kids ask, wait, what else happened? Or who were these people? And that questioning is the start of real historical thinking, not just memorizing dates. The treasure hunt is the Trojan horse, like I said, carrying these bigger lessons. Pretty brilliant.
And maybe the most brilliant part, they don't just leave you hanging with these historical hints. The creator actually included citations and references right on the last page. What's the impact of doing that, providing those resources for digging deeper? How does that empower the reader?
Oh, adding citations is such a powerful move, educationally speaking. It basically empowers the reader, kid, or adult to become an active explorer. It means you and your child can actually go look things up, check the facts, maybe learn more about the legends versus the history. It turns reading from passive consumption into active learning, active thinking. It teaches kids not just what to learn, but how to learn, how to research, how to check sources, skills that are absolutely essential today. It takes that spark of curiosity the story creates and gives it a pathway to grow. Real independent inquiry.
Now, thinking about teachers, there's another big educational piece here. The author went the extra mile and created a whole lesson plan just for teachers. So it's not just a book for story time. It's meant to be a real classroom tool.
Yeah, this really sets it apart as a complete educational package. They mentioned the sweet spot is probably 3rd through 5th grade, which sounds about right. A great age for history and adventure. Kids at that age are building literacy skills, thinking more abstractly. They're ready for this kind of blend. And the idea is the book and the lesson plan can work hand in hand in the classroom. So teachers can use the story to kick off discussions, activities, maybe deeper dives into the history or the themes. It makes learning really interactive, goes way beyond just reading.
And looking at the bigger picture, what's the real impact of having a resource like this in elementary schools? We know teachers are always looking for engaging stuff. How does the story plus a lesson plan help make history, exciting and accessible, not just dry facts?
It fills a huge need. History can often feel like just dates and names, kind of abstract for kids. A project like Skip&Scout changes that dynamic. It gives history a narrative hook, makes it feel tangible, relatable. The lesson plan then gives teachers structure. Maybe they map the twins' journey against real historical maps of Texas, or compare their challenges to what actual people faced back then, or discuss why the conquistadors were exploring in the first place, using the treasure hunt as context. This kind of approach builds a foundation for loving learning, showing kids history is full of amazing stories. It bridges that gap between fun and education.
Shifting gears a little, it's really clear this whole thing is a passion project for the author. You can just hear the enthusiasm in the Kickstarter video. It adds another layer, I think. This isn't just about selling books. It feels personal, like sharing a vision they really care about.
That definitely comes across. And passion projects often have that extra level of care, don't they? Someone pours their heart into it because they truly believe in its value. And for an independent author doing something educational, but maybe a bit niche, well, that takes serious dedication. You're talking research, writing, illustration, then developing teaching materials on top of that. It's a massive undertaking, a real labor of love.
And it's not just an idea on paper. So it's realized, illustrated, ready to go. And they're using Kickstarter to launch it as a limited edition. There are different tiers, incentives. For an independent creator doing this kind of educational work, what are the hurdles? And why is something like Kickstarter so important?
That's key. Making a high-quality book, illustrations and historical depth costs a lot upfront. Research time, art, editing, printing. Traditional publishers can be slow, maybe not interested in niche educational stuff. So Kickstarter is vital. It lets the creator connect directly with people who do want this exact thing. It proves there's demand, raises funds for the print run, builds a community around the book before it's even out there. The hurdles are significant funding, marketing an unknown title. Kickstarter provides a crucial pathway for these valuable projects.
And one incentive really caught my eye as being quite special. They're offering hand watercolor painted little pictures of Skip and Scout. The book art is digital, they say, but these are unique, original pieces available at a premium price. That's a lovely touch, offering something truly one of a kind for backers.
It really is. And it speaks to that passion project value again and how Kickstarter can work. Those unique rewards, like the watercolors, they don't just raise funds, they build a real connection. People feel like they're not just buying a book, but supporting the creator, supporting this kind of content for kids. It offers a personal link to the art, makes it more than just a transaction. You get a piece of original art and help bring something meaningful into the world. It's a great model.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on the outrageous adventures of Skip and Scout. Quite a journey, wasn't it? A heartwarming adventure, yes, but also packed with history, a useful tool for teachers, and clearly a labor of love. It really stands out as something special, a great way to get informed about a project that's doing something genuinely interesting for young readers.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you think about Skip and Scout and the history hidden in their quest, consider how stories like this, the ones that blend imagination with real facts, can light that spark of curiosity in kids, but in adults too. What other kinds of hidden treasures of knowledge might be out there in places we don't expect, waiting to be found if we just, look a little dipper, something to ponder?